entrepreneurship life. The grind never stops, does it? It never stops.
Like with the 9 to 5, when you're an entrepreneur, you get to work 24 hours a day, 247, back to back.
Okay,
sleep or awake.
Yes.
Okay, I want to ask you guys, as ladies, how do you cope with it? Did you envision this lifestyle for yourselves when you thought about going into entrepreneurship?
I don't think so. It just happens, and you just have to
Go with the
flow. Exactly. Some days are bad, but you just make the bad days work for you.
What keeps you going?
The thoughts of being rich.
Nice. What keeps you going, Uche?
That Nigeria has a long way to go.
Yeah.
And it cannot sink under our watch.
Yeah,
no, it can't. And the kids are the future of tomorrow, and we need to actually create a better and safer space, a lucrative space for them. So when they come in, it won't be that hard for them as well. And I love that, the youth, like the both of you, are building on that side of life, and for Nigeria as well. All right, let's get into what sustainable fashion is about. Which I want to know, why is it called sustainable fashion?
Sustainable because it conserves. So it's a kind of fashion that is environmental friendly and ethically produced. So ethical in the sense that it respects the dignity of labor. It intends to bring more value to the life, the living of a person, and environmentally friendly because we are trying to save our environment. So we're trying to reduce the waste and improve the state of our ecosystem.
And Nigeria is a country of over 200 million people. I cannot imagine the amount of waste we produce.
It's a lot of waste.
It's a lot, even from our outfits.
From papers too.
Let me tell you what led me to this journey. So my mother is a fashion designer. She has a fashion brand, and she started her brand in the house. And I would watch maybe from my studio upstairs and see waste. They've sewn clothes after the week, see bags and bags of waste. And I felt like professional tailors cannot be wasting this much clothes. So fortunately,
that's fabric. Heaps and heaps of fabric.
Yeah. You can't use some that are even like up to half a yard. They just throw it away.
They just throw it away.
We're done with this style. And then you go into the market and you realize that, let's say, a market like maybe Lungi Multipurpose Market or Gariki Market that has about 500 tailors is reproducing just the same amount of waste or double per shop. And then I walk on the street in Gwarimpa, and just behind the lungis, you just look in the gutters, you see heaps of waste, and you look in there, you see bags of material waste. It used to irk me, and then I kept complaining. What can I do with this? And then one day my friend said, if you're complaining, now go and start packing the dirty. And I was like, you know what? I just went online and I saw that, wow,
people are doing this
sustainable fashion. There is this institution in Hong Kong, Redress, that is dead. Hong Kong and Asia, that is the capital of mass production. So they realized what was happening, and they're like, okay, we need to backtrack immediately. We need to put in procedures in place to save this waste. And then they started an institution where they are more ethical in their design approach. So they save the fabric from their design process. So the moment that fabric is being designed to go into circularity, they are ensuring that the whole process is sustainable
from the start,
from when they've made the material, from the production, from the style, and also make avenues for return of material. So if you're a brand that you're very interested in sustainable fashion, they have courses. They teach you what materials composition is, what the material is composed of, how you should pick your materials, how you should sew them. They take old original sewing patterns like the Japanese kimono sewing. I even learned that in Nigeria, the Fulanis too, they hate waste. That if you sew clothes for a Fulani man and you cut out more than the neck, they can fight you. They just make that So they take all those approaches to create zero waste methods and low impact methods of designing. So I was like, we have to do that. Why can't we do it here? I've encountered a lot of Nigeria is not ready for this conversation. Uche. Even when I went to fashion school one day.
Even this program right now, I've been wanting to do a program on sustainability, saving the environment, and everything I get is Nigeria is not ready for
that conversation. Let me give you a stark example where I had my fashion school. So after the first 10 weeks, I totally deviated from the course because I would just bring all the clothes I've been planning, how I'll redesign and everything. And my tutor will keep looking. And when she called me, she said, what do you want to do with this fashion degree? I said, oh, auntie, I want to do sustainable fashion. You know, there's a lot of it. She said, is that what my money asked you? Please, I'm delivering about a ton of clothes to the US. I don't want to hear that conversation. Okay,
the money first.
Money first. So we need, first of all, a mindset change.
You know, when you said that, one thing that really touched me from what you've said is that these people, like you said, the Asians have realized that, you know, we need to backtrack. We need to stop all this, you know, waste. We need to start curbing, you know, wasteful activities. Yeah. And then when you say that they began from the design, that is nipping it in the bud. That's, you know, going to the root of an issue and starting from there. Do you ever see us in Nigeria training ourselves and our minds to get to the root of these issues and start from there? Imagine, like you mentioned, Gariki Market. Imagine going to sensitize. Let's say you do have the opportunity, you have the money to go sensitize tailors over there on waste management for fabrics, and you now start entering. You know, you have to start from the beginning. You don't have to start telling them you have to look into how you're styling.
I don't know how many minutes I have, but I can start with giving you my valiant story up until where Notifier Girl is. So we started in 2015, and I remember back then in 2017, after my law school, and I went to the market and I met some people. I was like, can I be getting the waste from your shops? I want to use it for other things. The man say, you won't go use and do juju.
Can you imagine?
But if I bring money and offer you
to buy it,
you will give it to me.
Yes. In fact, they will start making money off that.
They'll start selling it.
At first, in my business model, I planned I would pay to collect the fabric, and my dad was like, they're supposed to pay you. You're taking out their trash.
You're helping them reduce waste.
Love that.
But I don't think that way. Sometimes it's even a stress trying to make them to pack the thing and keep for you. Like something that you will still throw away. So you cannot teach, and like they'll say in my place, you can't teach an old you can't teach an old maid in a new dance. So you go first of all in your own approach. I start with my tailors now. At first, if you bring clothes for mending, not be me sew, I'm not be me go mend them.
Yes.
So people keep chucking off clothes. So my business was solely built on revamping. Redoing. So if you bring a dress, we turn it into this used to be a long skirt suit. What I'm wearing
just like what she's wearing. You can bring it and turn it into a two-piece.
Girl, sorry, I have so many of this outfit. I've been looking for
lots
who
of us
is
have
willing
so
to do
many
this.
of these outfits.
We started from there. So I found a few tailors I could work with, and sometimes when they're done working with me and I come in, I can hear them talking to their other tailors like, this thing they better now. No go suffer.
But they always thought that it was harder to do these things than sewing fresh clothes.
That Nigerian mentality of like, I don't know how to put it, selfishness
and greed. Because I tried this with a couple of tailors before, and you can't depend on one tailor. We know how Nigerian tailoring business
takes a lot.
So I chose a couple that I thought were proactive. They were nice to me. So I said, let me approach them with this idea. Even one of them was actually a friend that is not a market tailor but has her own place. Our approach with this idea never worked. And all I just keep doing is waiting for people I see at this size to just hand them off the clothes. But some of these outfits, I love them. I love the fabrics. I love the quality, and I want to revamp them.
I mean, no tag fashion. That's our sole value.
And I feel like this is a very good way to get the average Nigerian to be interested in sustainability. If you give them the offer of reusing or revamping their old clothing, because a lot of us have a lot of old clothing that would like to turn into something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Uche, go on.
I lost my train of thought when I listened to Annette. So let's
about no tag faction.
Yes. So we are trying to
help people.
Yeah, help people with doing the revamping and all that. Yeah. And in line with trying to encourage
more people to you know, like she said, like Annette said, a lot of people will not look at this and think, okay, off thought process, this, they won't be interested in it. But when you start giving them, like we're having this conversation now, you look at how bright my eyes, my pupils are dilated. I'm picturing all my outfits.
You're ready to bring them out and start saying 2 piece, 3 piece.
I'm so ready. So why do you think a lot of people did not do this? Because the only place I've seen this is people that have started businesses of adjusting clothes. That's the only one I've seen. And when I just saw that online, I was quite happy. But I never followed it up to, you know, carry my clothes there and everything. But one thing we know is that normal tailors don't like to take clothes already being sewn and fix them for you.
I will not lie, I have been trying to find the reason why. Because when you know why, it's easy to solve a problem.
Yes, that's true.
Some of them will say it takes time. But when I stand with the tailor and we do the design and we finish it, the time it takes is from me who is sketching that, okay, this dress now we're taking out here and here. That's the time. But once you put it down, the clothes is already cut. We're not making a new pattern. We're like just literally taking bits and pieces of it and reconstructing it. Maybe I feel sometimes it's still that mindset of, you didn't give me the money to sew these clothes, why are you not bringing it for me? And then imagining that mending has to be cheap, or that mending is small money, that you're expecting me to take 500 naira after you have paid this money to do this cloth.
It still boils down to greed.
Yes, it still boils down to greed. So when we can change that mindset by like having one-on-one, because most of these people are older, they're set in their ways.
They're set in their ways.
So you start one person, that's why you say one person is a dogged. It's a dogged, how do I put it? It's a dogged work. It's very dogged. When I started the journey, I felt like I didn't believe I would do this for 5 years.
I don't even believe that you're actually doing this.
It's
you know,
trickling in.
I need to come in and see what your company is about.
We've found ways to repurpose waste into packaging, to eliminate
as well.
Eliminate nylon materials.
What kind of waste do you use for packaging?
So we can use Ankara cotton jutes, jeans. We use it to make tote bags, which we use to package, that can now be used by our clients in different ways. And when we consult for other upcoming brands, we advise such that, okay, so when you're sewing, when the waste comes off, instead of just chucking it off, turn it into your packaging and brand it. That's like adverts without pay, anywhere they carry your bag to. And then people will always want to shop, because every time they come, it's a different bag, it's a different bag, and it's something you can reuse and reuse.
Did you manage to sell your client on that? Did they adopt that practice?
The one business that did it, I think they did it for about a year, but the person has moved to the US, so I'm assuming it paid off. Another person uses theirs to do throw pillows and everything, and they never stopped till now. So when they make our clothes, all the waste, they stuff it in and make throw pillows out of it. So it's just, and then we supply art houses with the materials, like such as Art Tier Studio.
What do they use?
The artist Obi Wembe does sustainable artworks. So he does paintings and does this mosaic and collages,
and he
with
uses
the materials. So these waste materials are getting repurposed. And we want to get to a point where we can innovate. To, you know, Nigeria is not yet, this is what I was trying to say before that skipped my mind. Nigeria is not yet at a massive production level, but still depending so much on imports, so much on what comes in from outside. So we need to, more than production, we need an innovative mindset. We need the mindset that is taking what we are getting to purpose into something that is useful to us and less harmful to our environment. So this is why the journey with No Tag Fashion, it seems slow sometimes to me. I'm like, oh my god, look at what other fashion brands I'm doing, but I'm like, if you don't get Abdul to understand why he needs to use the zero waste pattern to cut this trouser, or why when he's done cutting this trouser he needs to keep the pieces well, or not just chuck them in the gutter, then you cannot get 500 people to do that.
So feel the effect.
So it's a one step at a time, one shop at a time, one brand at a time, one person at a time. Quality over quantity.
Do you like I'm still amazed about this your idea. I'm still reveling in
At first I used to be shy about coming out with it, but thank God I found a pattern like Annette.
Yeah.
And in retail she was like, it also bothers her that sometimes at the end of the year she has some unsold stock and it's a lot. And she's like, what will I do with it? Should I just chuck it into thrift? Should I just give them like, I'm like, okay, we can do this with this. Come up with curtains, come up with throw pillows, tote bags, redesign them, change the style, throw it into her renting the outfits for rents for different purposes, so that people that do media production don't need to keep making clothes like
over.
So there is a return system that actually recycles. There's a larger thing. There's a larger thing to be educated, which is what we're planning an event to sensitize key players in the industry, not fashion, it's planning an event to sensitize key players in the industry on the importance of sustainability and how to go about it. But the small part of it is in our everyday lives.
It is.
Yes, let's make conscious efforts. Like the clothes people use for their weddings. Oh God, don't get me started. There's no bigger waste in the fashion industry
than your wedding dress.
Clothing fashion, because most brides they will make about 7 outfits: trad, cuts. Trad is like 3 or 4. Cuts, introduction, church is like 2 or 3, and then at the end of the day, that's it. They will never wear it again. It's gone. So imagine they can bring those clothes and we repurpose them, turn it into a dress.
I was actually waiting for you to say maybe you want to tell them not to sew outfits.
No. I, for example, I use myself an example. The clothes I wore for my trad, I wear them every day now, my everyday life.
But nobody can.
You will not even tell unless I tell you that, oh, this was my wedding skirt and I did this to
Do you know that brings something to mind right now? I follow Jemima Osunde on Instagram.
Okay, yeah.
And I have a friend. My friend Amaka is a very close friend. So I went to school with Amaka. So Jemima was in Abuja to visit my friend Amaka a few weeks ago, and they attended another of our classmates' wedding. So when I saw Jemima post on Instagram, she posted 2 outfits. She posted 1 outfit, 2 slides. And she was like, oh guys, can you remember this outfit from this wedding I wore last year? And my tailor revamped it for me into this. And honestly, even with the 2 pictures side by side,
you can't even tell. Wow.
And I was like, what a great idea. But obviously, like everything on social media, we consume so much. I just passed it immediately, but it did catch my attention at that moment. And I think is actually what you're trying to talk about now. Yes. What does it entail to operate in the industry?
Okay, so there are 3 most important things to operate in the sustainable fashion industry. 1 is your mindset.
Definitely.
2, innovation.
I don't know how you're teaching Abdul to cut patterns, 0 waste pattern. How many Abduls have time to teach?
2, innovation. 3, technology. So you must be ready. You must know that we need to uphold values. We need to promote values. We need to be
which is the biggest picture
we need to be more qualitative in our decisions. When you're coming up with designs, you need to think the big picture. Can this design be in a capsule collection? Can this person wear this design every day and mix it up and still have a new look? And that's innovation. How do I take care of my staff? How do I ensure that they are satisfied? How do I come about manage? How do I select the materials? How do I, separate? What do I do with this? What do I do with that? Technology,
yeah, that's the one I want to know.
Internet.
How does it play a part?
Internet, getting machines, training your staff, encouraging them in new ways, because sometimes the crude method of doing things makes it very difficult for them. But when you can say that, okay, there's this new machine that does this, it will do this, it can do this, you can cut your pattern like this, and then you see it's already done. If you put it online and you print it, it will come out like this. You don't need to stress while you are doing something else, so that you don't have an issue.
And these people are happily working with you.
It's not
it's even sustaining human beings.
Sustaining human beings. Still have this, my money there. but yes, it is like whenever we're done, it's so fulfilling. It feels like I've made making a new clothes and I still got the same money, and the value is just, I cannot quantify how much value.
What are acceptable materials in the industry?
Okay, so there's man-made materials and there's natural materials. Natural materials are like cotton, viscose. Cotton is gotten from plants. They're plant-based and man-made.
Okay, cotton.
So cotton is gotten from plants, wool from animal, viscose from plants as well, and polyester. So the quality of the material now depends on the treatment. So sustainable fashion greatly supports plant-based natural materials and less chemical treatments.
Yeah.
However, there's some synthetic processes that need to be applied to man-made materials, because the whole point of fashion, sometimes fashion is a way to separate class stratospheres. So some people want to be like, don't use that dry organza for me, can you use shiny organza? So this is, but the best, most sustainable materials to use are those natural materials that come from plants, animals. Polyester is made from petroleum products that is used. So,
but you mentioned polyester is acceptable in the sustainable fashion
yes
industry.
Because petroleum is a natural resource. It's biodegradable. The only thing that makes it difficult are some of the
when it burns
and the chemicals they use in getting it ready, like some of them are metallic and they can be dangerous, but
but if you treat it well,
these four are like naturally sourced. Their basic ingredients are made from natural resources.
I think that you should also think about how they decompose.
Yeah.
So it's more than just wearing a dress. How would it affect the environment? Are you just going to throw this shirt and in 10 years' time it's still a shirt on the ground? Like, that's why it's essential to use plant-based, so that it can be able to decompose, go back to the earth. So we're actually feeding and saving humanity.
Okay, and there is something that we hear about a lot these days: fast fashion.
Shein, ASOS.
Please tell me how those ones are actually adding to the environment, whether positively or negatively.
Okay, so the ones in Nigeria, they get a pass because some of the international benchmarks for checks have not been institutionalized here in Nigeria. But there's something called greenwashing now, where some companies that are not sustainable pose as though they are.
They are now
I saw that too.
They are hiding.
But then again, the UN clamped back immediately with institutions that are checking on the greenwashing, and they are following them back to back. So enterprise development councils and all that are ensuring. But before, companies like H&M have suffered lawsuits on how they treat their workers, the poor treatment of workers, using all these jet shacks that they use, that they just pack people in, no work ethic, nothing. They just make $1 million clothing, no return policy, no thinking the design cycle proof. So now, even before those brands bring out a range, they're already planning on, if you want to return this outfit after using a so period of time, this is how you can return the outfit. So these brands are being charged to put in effort. If you cannot be environmentally friendly because you're in fast fashion, at least be ethically friendly.
Like, I was seeing a post that says you need 10 gallons of water to produce one jean. And imagine the number of jeans we have in Nigeria or in the world. Like 10 gallons just to dye a jean trouser.
So that means all of us should just be returning the jean we have already back.
See, do you know,
that they can
if you want to take draconian measures, you would say no more production. We quit production because what we have in circulation is more than enough for us, for our children. But if you say that, people will not be happy.
I know, it's like an authoritarian
some businesses may not function for a long time.
People will push back. People will fight that.
So we need to now focus on being innovative, using technology and innovation to even in producing.
So some of these fast fashion brands, where they can't, ethically produce things that are friendly to the environment and can save the environment, they can encourage their own customers not to throw these products out for waste
at all, and then
because most of them are not biodegradable.
Yes, and then invest in their workers, invest
in their workers
in
human capacity.
Yes, to be like, okay, if we can't give back to the environment, let's give back to people.
This every time you read on sustainable goals, sustainability, it has a lot to do with human beings, the labor force, the workers. Why is it so important that the workers are sustained as well, as opposed to how the workers are actually being treated or by these organizations?
It's important because these workers have years of knowledge that, if properly used, managed, can be passed down and then innovated on by we, the younger generation. So if you treat them baselessly, you lose, it's like losing a museum, or just waking up one day and let's say this mosque here is just blown up. It's like losing powerhouse of information, and humanity is the reason for everything. If there was no human beings, we're not making clothes. If there's no human beings, we're not making cars. If there's no human beings, we're not cooking, we're not eating. It would just be free flow. But humanity is the reason for everything. So if you cannot bring basic amenities, basic value to a human life, to make somebody feel better about their life, to give somebody dignity of labor, give somebody a happy reason to wake up every morning, not just the God, I have to do this because I just want to eat one meal with my family.
It's like modern day slavery at the end of the day.
I want to bring value. I want to be able to create my designs and know that these designs are telling stories of generations past, passing down history, passing down knowledge. And I want to be able to, teach this to my children, teach this to corporations internationally, exchange cultures. Then the company has failed. It has failed. So the most important thing is from the inside. So structure is built from internal outward, just like a building is from the foundation. If you treat your staff well, you handle your business properly, you're honest, your integrity is top notch. People can see transparency of your operations. You're not just some people use tailors, then they won't pay, then they will find new tailors. That's why now in Nigeria tailors are like gold, because they'd rather be in their village doing the passing around, knocking the scissors, knowing that they're getting their 200 naira, than to sit down and work for someone. But imagine you can emancipate all these people. Changing one life is like changing
definitely it trickles down, especially in Nigeria.
It's a wave. It's a wave that moves itself. So that's why that human impact is more important than anything. You're not saving the environment for the animals.
You're saving it for us human beings.
So that's why.
Annette, you're in the retail business. I know how she said that she talked about how the waste affected her so much, how fabric waste affected her so much, and she saw you were interested in it as well. As a retailer, do you make your own clothes or you buy to sell?
Well, I started buying.
Okay.
Because Nigeria or fast fashion works with trends. Everybody wants to wear what Kim Kardashian is wearing, what Mercy is wearing, what Tiwa is wearing. So you have to import. I started with importing, but it got to a point I was like, why are we even buying clothes from other countries to our own country? That doesn't make sense. People in India don't buy US dresses to wear. They make their own dress. We should be proud of our own designs. But most times people don't want anything that is sewn. I don't know why. They rather wear Shein,
like
Zara, Gucci. Like these are also brands that are helping their own countries. So we should be able to have our own Gucci, our own Amaka self. I want Amaka, our own Inkiru design. Like we should be able to do. We should be able to do that. So I started venturing into sewing, and then I met her, and then she made me understand that sustainable fashion is
another side.
There's another side of it, because then again we can't be importing, exchange dollar rates, and at the end of the day we're still making chicken change where we can sew our dresses and make a lot of profit when we sell them. So
she's chopping life now.
Like what I'm wearing, I sell it and it was made, and you think it's still from Turkey or from somewhere.
It does look ready made, actually.
So I feel like more designers, more boutiques should embrace
making. I'm glad you touched on the nationwide effect of this fashion in our industry. We can wake up, Nigerians can wake up every day and say, we don't produce anything, we only import. Everybody's still complaining. Even the people that import are still complaining. The people that are still patronizing important things are still complaining that when are we going to start manufacturing? When are we going to start?
starts with us.
It does start with us.
There was a day dollar went up and I was so angry. Why am I changing dollar for 360 something? There was a time dollar was going to 800.
that time,
Like, oh, we sell fabric. We can make these dresses that we are trying to copycat. Like, why does Nigeria don't want to value Nigerian made things?
Nigerian made. And you know, I know that some of the Ankaras and the fabrics, we still import them because I see how the prices change a lot.
Yes,
like, I wish they wouldn't. So that's one thing I think sometimes that makes sewing a bit pricey, and people will just go straight to, I'll just buy ready-made and all of that.
Shout out, there are some Nigerian companies, I won't name them, they didn't pay me for advert, but there's some Nigerian companies that have been very intentional for about a decade now on Nigerian-made fabrics, both the plains, the international fabrics, and the ones that also export. So there are not many, but those ones, like, let me name Vlisco.
Okay, I think they are popular.
They've put in the intention. One, they are saving our traditional values in the kind of materials, in the story our materials tell. And two, they're also bringing that value that is from within that we can export, and they are exporting massively all over the world. So apart from them, there are some other companies, but there's Unqua. Unqua is one company I admire what they do. They train about 1,000 women yearly, and they take waste and turn them to materials by knitting, weaving. They can even turn jeans, like they weave jeans. Wow. They take the jeans, shred it.
And you say they train 1,000 women
They train
every
women.
year.
If you just check, they just finished an Arise Fashion Week.
What did you call them?
Nkwo, NKWO, Nkwo Official. They just finished Arise Fashion Week, and most of the clothing there was old clothes that were turned to materials that were now sewn into the outfits. They even did a project where they collected all the white cotton shirts in Yaba markets and created mad collections of clothing out of it. And so they are leading the way. There's so many. There are other smaller companies like Eyelet Couture that in their pieces are so versatile, and they're trying to start that conversation. Like, be more intentional, so be mindful.
We're asking the smaller scale tailors and fashion designers to look into sustainable fashion.
Be mindful.
Recycling old fabrics, old styles, old clothes to make new things. Because actually, she mentioned, like I said, the nationwide and global impact of how Nigerians can leverage on sustainable fashion. And anytime I think about how Nigeria can leverage on anything, I really feel like anything we carry, we can be the best at it. We just need to start something.
Stop complaining and waiting for the government.
I know I know we can't have industries popping up here and there. It's not going to. That's not what's going to happen to transform Nigeria automatically to a producing nation. No. We start from places like this, because these fabrics that you're saying that you can collect, reuse and everything, does it take a lot to revamp them to get them into something good?
No.
Do you need big machines or big factories to do this?
Tailoring machine, design brand. I'm an analog artist.
It's an industry already.
It's the same paper and pen I used to sketch a new design, put the size measurements.
And what are the chances of exporting these, of working on this? Can we even export it as raw materials, like not even as sewn clothes?
Do you know what? You'll be so amazed at how much fashion Nigeria exports. You'll be so amazed at how much fashion Nigeria exports. Many fashion houses, they do bulk. You know, these Ankara bomber jackets.
Ankara is really,
they export.
It's really high.
You'll be so shocked.
A
lot of it. So it's not going to be difficult to.
How do you source customers for internationally?
International customers, most of them have been word of mouth because of the scale of what I do. When I started this business in the beginning, I didn't believe much in myself as well. I just felt I was thinking small. I was thinking small about it. But I've been opportune and have had access to people with bigger mindsets. I have my friends that come here and say, Uche, I want to see you on TV. You're not putting enough visibility on this business. What you're doing is very important. What you're doing sends a clear message to everybody, and it gives a roadmap to other brands. please, if you want me to invest in your business, I want to be seeing more of you, which is why I'm here today. I want people to hear about what you're doing. So most of my international clients are word of mouth. I've had people call someone and say, oh, I need this made in Nigeria. Somebody will call me and say, oh, we need this, and then I can supply, or they will send to me. But I have to worry about the logistics of receiving and returning. So not an issue, because I work from passion, but we need the cash to keep the business moving.
Good.
So international clients are Instagram. We have _fashion on Instagram. That's how we do ads sometimes. We create collections. We collaborate.
Oh,
collaborating with the Nigerian designers, talking about it, creating editorials, producing garments. For example, working on a collection right now with It Is Nameless. There is another sustainable fashion brand by Miss Ansi. So we are working on creating a plantation collection where we really touch down on that on the importance of sustainability, on how we source our materials, how we've created the collection, and then just to put a message out there. So it's going to take a lot of community work and effort to get us to where we need to be.
Events we're planning.
Did you forget?
Tag Fashion is planning our Hamatan events. We usually have fashion events yearly. So this year is the Eco Fashion event. So it's going to be like a 3-day event where we're going to have online auction, a town hall, and then a fashion event that is all about sensitizing key players in the fashion industry on sustainable fashion. Everything we can do to make fashion more sustainable, how we can help our staff, how we can respect our authenticity, how we can create from the design process, because I've seen some designs that were not thought through. Like when you ask about
the old clothing, we're also doing a barter event.
So we're having a barter event that's supposed to be like a quality control platform where designers meet designers. It's for the designers on the Hamatan event. Let's start from them, because they are the ones producing what we are pushing into the market. So the designers on the Hamatan event and other designers, key players in the industry, are going to come together and match your market, like compare your products, barter your products. No currency involved. Barter your products. How good is your product? How much quality is this product giving me that I want to let go of my own products for your product? So it's going to be we're not trying to make money here, we're trying to charge each other to put in the effort to ensuring that we're giving top-notch quality.
You benefit from we all learn together. Rub mind and share knowledge. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Uche. Thank you so much, Annette, for being on the show.
Thank you, Mena.
This was beautiful and insightful.
Thank you.
Lovely, pretty looking ladies here. You can check them out on our YouTube channel at Citizen FM on YouTube. Thank you so much for coming.
I had a wonderful time.
I did as well. Do have a lovely, lovely day.
You too.
Baby, okay, she might know. I'm a wet cigarette. I'm a money, more available. my cross.